where strategy meets operational reality in 2026. Most strategies look sound on paper. Targets are defined, capital is tentatively allocated, and priorities are aligned, at least at the executive level. What is changing, however, is where those strategies begin to break down. Increasingly, it is not in boardrooms or planning models, but in the operational systems responsible for execution. As early year assumptions weaken, facilities, energy systems, and infrastructure dependent operations are becoming the first stress points. Strategy is not failing outright, it is being tested earlier and more visibly than many organizations anticipated. Strategy doesn't fail in planning, it fails in delivery. The distance between strategy and execution is shrinking. In previous cycles, organizations could absorb misalignment through time, flexibility, or incremental adjustments. In 2026, tighter timelines and physical limits are compressing that margin. Operational teams are being asked to deliver outcomes under conditions that were not fully priced into strategic plans. Constrained energy availability, limited infrastructure flexibility, and rising expectations around resilience. These realities do not invalidate strategy, but they do determine whether it can be carried out. Facilities are becoming strategic pressure points. Facilities teams are no longer simply implementing decisions made elsewhere. They are absorbing strategic consequences in real time. Energy reliability, asset performance, and site-level constraints are increasingly dictating what timelines are achievable and which investments are viable. Aging infrastructure is being asked to support new performance requirements, often without corresponding increases in capacity or redundancy. As a result, facilities are becoming decision choke points, where abstract commitments meet physical limits. This shift elevates facilities from a downstream function to a frontline strategic role, whether leadership has explicitly acknowledged it or not. Energy availability is reordering execution priorities. Energy is no longer a stable input that planning models can safely assume. Availability, cost volatility, and delivery timing are reshaping execution sequencing across sectors. Projects that depend on increased load or electrification are encountering delays not because of strategy, but because energy systems cannot move as quickly as plans require. At the same time, organizations face trade-offs between decarbonization goals, reliability needs, and cost exposure. Trade-offs that were expected to emerge later, not at the outset of the year. When energy becomes a gating factor, execution choices narrow. What remains is not optimization, but prioritization. Resilience is overtaking efficiency as the operational lens. Efficiency has long been the dominant operational metric. In 2026, resilience is taking its place. Redundancy, flexibility, and contingency planning, once viewed as cost centers, are increasingly understood as strategic safeguards. Efficiency gains lose value if systems cannot perform under stress. As disruptions compound faster and recovery windows tighten, resilience is becoming a prerequisite for execution, not a secondary enhancement. This shift is subtle but consequential. It changes how capital is justified, how projects are sequenced, and how success is measured. Execution timelines are tightening faster than expected. Perhaps the most immediate operational challenge is timing. Permitting delays, supply chain friction, and workforce constraints are compressing execution windows. Projects that slip early in the year risk missing entire planning cycles. Operational teams are being forced into reactive sequencing, deciding not what to do next, but what can still be done at all. Under these conditions, misalignment between strategy and execution becomes expensive quickly. What this signals for leadership. The lesson for leadership is not that strategy needs to be rewritten. It is that execution capacity must be assessed with the same rigor as ambition. Operations, facilities, and energy teams need earlier visibility into strategic intent, and leadership needs clearer insight into operational limits. In 2026, those limits are not peripheral. They are shaping outcomes. The defining shift of 2026 strategy is not losing relevance. It is losing insulation. As operational reality asserts itself earlier in the year, organizations that recognize the shift will have options. Those that do not will discover, often too late, that the success of their strategy was decided long before mid-year adjustments were possible. In 2026, where strategy meets operational reality is where outcomes are determined. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.